Hello. Today it's Christmas 2017 and Rachel Hughes and I have the privilege of talking to former chairman of Cheshire Federation of WIs, and we are looking forward to hearing their little anecdotes and their little stories, and I hope that you too will enjoy what they're going to tell us in these very brief moments that we interview them. Thank you. My next interview is with Margery Hall. Welcome, Margery.
Thank you.
Margery Hall was chairman of the Federation from 2007 until 2011. Margery, when did you join WI?
Well, there's quite a story behind that. I actually joined, I'm not quite sure whether it was 1957 or 1958. I came from a little tiny mining village in Durham, and there wasn't a lot going on in the village. It was chapel and basically WI. So of course my mother was a great WI member. So I went along with her because they had the most wonderful entertainment group, and I quite fancied being part of this entertainment group. So that's what drew me first to the WI.
And then you moved areas, didn't you?
Yes, we moved. When I was married, I moved to a different part of County Durham, where I joined the ladies' club. But then when we came from Durham down to Cheshire, eventually I was back in WI.
Did you learn any new skills as a WI member?
Oh yes, it was a great learning curve, WI skill executive. It was learning to organise things and mix with members, and the biggest skill of all was IT, because Mary Devonport, bless her, was quite poorly for a few months, and we were without a secretary, and then Mary didn't eventually come back. So we were quite a lot of months without a secretary, and I think that was when my IT skills improved a lot, because we had to do agendas, minutes, print programmes, set programmes for cathedral services. So those type of skills just rocketed over those few months for me.
There have been many changes in recent years,
yes,
haven't there?
yes.
But we must remain loyal to those who cannot use those
Of course,
skills,
of course.
Yes. Were you given advice by your former chairman?
Well, Chris, of course, was my former chairman, and it wasn't advice, but she nurtured me. When we were having big events at Bolesworth, I was then chairman of Home and Gardens. Chris used to take me along to meet Diana, and we would discuss the event and at Capestone Hall and things like that. She took me under her wing, and I learnt a lot from Chris.
It's often said that being chairman is like having at least a part-time, if not a full-time
I would say a full-time job. It's 7 days a week. Yes, exactly. Yes. The only time my dining table ever got cleared was a Sunday when I had to set it for the family coming for dinner. Other than that, it was full of paperwork and everything regarding WI.
Do you think for some people that might pose a problem?
Well, I think you put in what you want to put in, Sybil. You know, some people may not want to put a lot of paperwork and organisation into it, but that's entirely up to them. We always say you've got to be yourself and do what you want to do.
And you find it rewarding?
Oh, very rewarding. I have made so many friends and acquaintances and done so many things which I never ever thought I would ever achieve and do.
And met a mixture of people, of course.
Oh, of course, of course. Just part of every time we have a big event in the county, you know, we've had Bolesworth, we've had Capestone, we've had, you name it, the Duke of Westminster's, Cholmondeley Castle. All of those people when you're going and organising an event, I can remember Lady Lavinia, we're having coffee with Lady Lavinia in her own little personal sitting room, and all her personal effects were around. And she had this peculiar, well, sorry, I shouldn't say peculiar, but obviously it was a little treasure of hers, this cuckoo clock, you know, which you didn't expect to be working, but it was. And just little intimate things like that that you would never normally get the chance to do.
What would you say you treasure most about the years that you spent as chairman?
Well, the 90th birthday celebrations that year was very, very special. We did lots of wonderful things then. I had what I called my birthday girls, and every WI member that was 90 that year, I had a list of them and I sent them birthday cards. We produced a poem book. Members wrote poems in, and we produced a poetry book. And yes, that was wonderful. But the other thing, I think, was I was very, very proud when I was invited to the Royal Garden Party to represent the Cheshire Federation. That was wonderful. And can you compare it with Ben Fogle giving you a kiss on the cheek? You know, how do you compare these different wonderful experiences?
If you were advising a young WI group, what would be the successful recipe for a WI meeting? What would you advise?
Well, I think they've got to remember our aims and that we all have, but they've got to do what they want to do. We've got to listen to them and run things accordingly to what they want.
And what would the others add to that? What advice would you give to a new
be very friendly. Encourage every new member that comes through the door. Have someone special on the door to greet new members and visitors, because it's that friendship that gets them into the fold, isn't it?
And also to tell them what their membership will give them.
Yes.
Don't think they're just member of that little WI.
No, it's,
enjoy
yes,
that
it's
little
national.
WI, I'm not saying that. But remember, there's a federation, there's national, and
Yes.
there is so much more on offer out of their friendship, out of their membership.
Yes, yes.
I think all of you are very proud that you've
When I
been
went
there.
to my very first PCO workshop at Denver, they said, really, when a new member came, we should say, welcome to be a member of so-and-so WI, of the so-and-so Federation, of the National Federation, and a member of ACWW. And they said, really, we should welcome
Not just UW.
all of those to make them realise there were all those layers.
Yes, yes.
I think it's also important to tell them that as a WI member you've got a voice. You know, that you actually can speak out for a whole lot of women, not just your own WI, because we've got all the I'm not saying you want to do it instantly as soon as they join, but you've got to make them aware of big campaigns we've had and the resolutions.
Yes.
So that they have got a voice.
Yes. If they didn't have a vote, they would shout, wouldn't they? They would want it.
And that one listens to, and I think that's really important, because a lot of the new members do want that. They come in perhaps from something else, but once they, and I think to explain to them that it's about, you know, can I save my bus route? You know, can I keep that hedge going? It's not just, oh, it's terribly, you know, it's just terribly serious.
Margery, you've been very supportive of the recent campaigns.
Yes.
And I know that you presumably will continue to do
Yes,
so.
yes, yes, I do.
And why do you think they are important?
Well, that's one of the reasons the WI was formed, so women could have a voice and in the public affairs in the country. And I think they've got to realise this, and we make such a difference.
We will celebrate next year, won't
Yes,
we?
we make such a difference. You know, we lobby the government. We have members such as yourself and Georgina who are sitting on the National Public Affairs Committee, and they're often invited to Downing Street at meetings and things like that to the government like their views on certain subjects. So it is very important that we our public affairs are kept going.
Thank you, Margery. And as I said to all here today, not just thank you for today, but thank you for what you've done in the past
Yes.
for us all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.